Donald Trump's second term has been a record-breaking failure. In just under 6 months, Trump has managed to do what was thought to be impossible: poll in the negative on every single issue. For a while, immigration seemed to be MAGA's only saving grace, as a few months ago, most Republicans would have told you that they support mass deportation. But now that people are actually seeing what mass deportation is and looks like, with visitors and tourists being detained for no reason, visas and green cards being arbitrarily taken away from people, and workers being scooped up in fields, most Americans now realize that Trump's draconian and downright evil policies are bad for the country. And that's according to this new Gallup poll showing a stunning reversal on immigration. The headline from Gallup reads, "Surge in U.S. concern about immigration has abated." Now, I think this headline kind of buries the lead a little bit, but let's get into the details. America has grown markedly more positive towards immigration over the past year, with the share wanting immigration reduced dropping from 55% in 2024 to 30% today. At the same time, a record high 79% of Americans say immigration is good for the country. But interestingly, this shift seems to be mostly coming from Republicans. I mean, look at this absolutely insane downturn. 88% of Republicans back in 2024 said that they think immigration rates should be decreased. That has dropped 40 points to 48% today. Look at the rates of Republicans saying that they think immigration should be kept at the same rate. It jumped up from 4% to 36%, with a slight increase in Republicans saying that immigration should be increased. So why is this happening? Well, Trump's raids in LA, I think, woke up a lot of people to what he plans to do to every blue city, and his invasion of California continues to this day. A couple of days ago, there was a show of force at MacArthur Park in LA, with ICE officers sweeping across the very large and popular park for literally no reason other than to intimidate residents. There were literally no arrests. There was no one that they were trying to, issue a warrant to or effect a warrant on. They literally just raided the place to show everybody that, hey, we're still here.
A chaotic and, for some, a frightening scene at a busy park in Los Angeles on Monday. Around 100 federal agents, border patrol, law enforcement, and military personnel converging in armored vehicles and trucks. This footage showing dozens of personnel parading through the park with a camera operator in front. One councilman saying it appeared to be a photo op or a TikTok video shoot.
You keep saying they need to leave. What are you going to do? They will be leaving soon.
The furious mayor who released it and later showed up demanding they leave, saying it is another blatant attempt at intimidation.
I don't think the goal is to detain. I think the goal is to spread fear. I think that's what it is. It's to terrorize Angelenos. It's to say to immigrants that are in our city of immigrants that they need to stay home. They shouldn't go to work. They shouldn't go to school. Because we're coming after you.
But they didn't stop there. Yesterday, ICE descended on a cannabis farm in California, scooping up workers left and right and prompting massive protests which turned violent. And while the right is suddenly saying, oh, you guys just want this cheap migrant labor, which is hilarious coming from hyper-capitalists who defend the system of inhumane labor exploitation in any other context, the reality is conservatives understand that ruining lives of farm workers isn't tenable. Not only is it cruel, these are good, working people who do good work, and that labor isn't going to be replaced by Americans, despite what Trump's cabinet will tell you.
Keith Smith says most immigration workers left after the law took effect, so this potato farmer hired Americans. Problem is, he says, most show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field.
There's a Hispanic man that works for us, and I say, he's 52, and he'll make anywhere from $70 to $100 a day. I said, if you can keep up with him and do a good job, you can make that. But they're not physically in shape to do it, and, probably not mentally tough enough to do it, some of them.
Well, that plan is bunk, but surely the orange stable genius has a plan to answer the question of immigration. He was asked earlier today if he had any plans to change course.
I I think we've done very well on immigration. We were given a very bad hand by Biden. He allowed 25 million people to come in totally unchecked, unvetted. We're getting the criminals out, and we're getting them out fast.
So, of course, he's going to change nothing and keep doing this awful campaign. But whether you're an immigrant or naturalized or you were born here and just a little too brown, Tom Homan is going on Fox News and telling everyone that ICE has the authority to arbitrarily detain anyone they like and ask their immigration status based on racial profiling.
Look, people need to understand, ICE officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. They just need the totality of the circumstances, right? They just got through the observation, get articulable facts based on their location, the occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. Like a uniformed Border Patrol agent walks up to them at, for instance, a Home Depot.
ICE is not backing down, but I think what they're going to be surprised to find is that the community isn't going to back down either. Here's some footage from earlier today where a clinic stepped in to stop ICE from just barging into their private property and arresting a guy randomly without showing any warrant, without showing any ID, without even describing what he's doing there. They literally think they can just come into private locations and pull out anybody they want now.
Mr. Guillen was doing his job. He was outside of this clinic doing his job with the landscaping company when he was approached by someone armed and masked. He runs into this clinic asking for support, asking for help, where then the armed gentleman again comes in and masked, and the staff at this point also begins to feel worried and concerned for their safety. They start asking this person to identify himself, to show ID, to show a badge, to show a warrant, and they also remind him, you're in private property. We don't feel comfortable with this. You need to leave or you're not going to present identification. So seeing Mr. Guillen struggling to even speak, right? Here, seeing the fear in his face, hearing it in his voice, all that just breaks your heart, right? Realizing that, again, this person is someone that is working, that is trying, working, seeking a better life, and is now between armed masked men with guns and nurses that are trying to figure out what's going on. It is brave of these nurses to actually exercise their rights. In no way are they intervening. They're exercising the right to know who is in this building with a weapon, right? And I think it's important to note that that what they did is commendable, and it is brave.
With ICE getting $100 billion over the next 10 years, now becoming the biggest military arm of our government, it seems like anybody with working brain cells can make the connection between Trump's ICE and Hitler's Gestapo. The secret police are here, folks. Look out for each other and stay informed by subscribing to Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.